Oh, that was nasty. I'm actually just here to watch some highlights. No, what you're seeing there is power soccer. And you might have never seen it before, but it's played all around the world. And it's been around for about 50 years, which means that I've been playing it for almost half its entire existence. In my more than 20 years of playing, I've won lots of tournaments. I've lost lots of tournaments. I've traveled around the country and the world. I've won awards. I've modeled athletic wear. I've captained a national team, been featured in a documentary. But the most important thing I've gained is a perspective that there's an untapped potential, or at least an opportunity for more empowerment for people with disabilities. And I've also seen the benefits of what that empowerment brings, benefits that extend beyond the individual. After many years of playing, I've had the opportunity to train and empower athletes. And perhaps most revealing has been bringing the sport to kids and adults with disabilities for their very first time. I'm there when both the kid and family or caregivers realize at the same time that they could do something they didn't think was possible. And this happens every single introduction clinic I go to. They dribble a ball around with their chair, doing something that doesn't require any help from anybody. And they start thinking, wow, this is freeing. I wonder what else I can do. And then the parents start thinking, what else can my child do? And then I tell them what I've done. I tell them I got a degree in mechanical engineering and have been working as an engineer for the last 5 years. And that I'm not unique, that many other disabled athletes in power soccer have gone on to become teachers and lawyers and business owners, drive a car and own a home and raise a family. This might be surprising for some of you, because it's surprising for some of those parents. But for me, I grew up expecting that. I grew up with role models who looked like me. And they were doing these things, so I never doubted if it could be possible. There were two things that made me think I could be an engineer specifically, and one was a teacher in 8th grade, Mr. Gritman. He said he could see me designing technology. The other was in 9th grade, when the Strikeforce chair came out. The first chair specifically for power soccer. And as you saw in the video, used by practically everyone in the world now. And it was co-designed and engineered by someone who has a disability. That's Ed McGuire right there. I knew I wanted to be an engineer like that. I had someone who told me I could, and I had someone who showed me I could. As a 5th grader, I wanted to play on the school football team. And that's the one time I can remember where my parents said, I can't. And I'm still mad at them for it, because I would have been nasty. You saw on the highlight. I have moves. No, I think we can all agree, though, that there's inherently fewer opportunities for people with disabilities. And that's what I mean by there's an untapped potential. Because there are fewer ways for people to develop the skills that they maybe would have. Now, you may say there's plenty of opportunities that don't require physical ability, and that may be true, but opportunity and activity have to match interest to empower. And I think it's less obvious that to truly empower someone, there needs to be an opportunity to fail, depending on the effort that they put into it. And not in everybody wins, because losing is an opportunity. And when that documentary I mentioned comes out next year, you'll see that when there's winning and losing involved, I'm not as easygoing as I appear. I didn't even know my face could do that. I'm also not as easygoing when, and this happens on a regular basis, I'm out to buy something, and the salesperson only looks at the person I'm with and not at me. Like I'm not capable of having a conversation, even when I'm the one asking the questions. It makes me feel invisible. but these experiences have enlightened me and informed me of how to work with people with disabilities. There was a clinic I hosted where a kid came in who I could tell might have difficulty speaking, but he was smiling, and I came up to him and I said, "Hey, I'm Riley, I'll be your coach today. What's your name?" And his parents answered for him, but I kept eye contact with him and said, "Oh, well, nice to meet you. I'm so glad you could be here. Are you ready to play some soccer?" And he smiled, he happily smiled, shook his head yes. And then he turned out to be the player who had a lot of skill at that clinic. I was the most impressed with him. From my experience, when you empower people, they can achieve things they didn't think were possible. When I go to these clinics, I notice a huge difference when I start hyping up and encouraging the athletes' abilities, that their performance skyrockets. It's changed my view on the true potential of people. I will say, though, that soccer is not the only place I've seen and experienced empowerment. Like, my experience from a young age at school in St. Cloud was genuinely positive. When I was in first grade, there was a physical therapist that had a desk built for me that was at the same height as everybody else and that I could use. They got me a mouthpiece that I could type with. They actively looked for ways to enable me to do things, and that empowers me to this day. So I owe a lot to the St. Cloud School District. I mean, I was 6 years old. Like, how could I have come up with these ideas? But typing with a mouthpiece has become second nature because I used it at such a young age. And it's proven to be invaluable professionally and beyond. I've had professional job interviews where the potential employer asked me how I would physically do my job or physically use a computer. But Park Industries, who I work for now, they didn't ask me that. They asked me technical and culture fit questions. And it wasn't until after I had accepted the job that they brought it up in a way of, how can they help? So I didn't have to worry about how I was going to do basic things at work like open a door. So I could just focus on my job. Now, that's a pretty specific example of the benefit of empowerment. But empowering someone has ripple effects beyond them. Maybe it makes things a bit easier for their caregiver. Or that empowered person is now more involved in their community. Or they build skills that help them make them more employable. We're often talking how there's a shortage of labor, and that could be part of the solution. The impact will be different for everybody, but just think about how these benefits can reach far beyond the individual. Now, I'm not here to ask you to start helping in a disability organization. Although when you go back to watch the recording of this, because it was so kick-ass, or a complete dumpster fire, you be the judge. I'll make sure to include links to organizations that could use your help, in case you're interested. That was a wink for the people in the back. No, what I'm asking is to challenge your assumptions. I'm considered an expert in power soccer, and yet even I routinely get surprised at an athlete's ability. I think a player's ability will limit them from doing a certain skill, and then they're able to do it. And I think that goes to show we can't truly judge or predict someone's true potential. So remember the example of the salesperson and the player at the clinic. Think about the next time you interact with someone with a disability, or just someone different from you. Maybe you're confident in how or why you interact with them. I recognize that while I'm an expert in soccer, and there's nothing I'm more confident in, even my biases can still be wrong. So maybe give someone a chance that you wouldn't have otherwise. Empower their true potential. Because you never know. You never know how it just might benefit them, benefit you, and benefit the world. Thank you.